Welcome to Mommy Issues, a podcast where an ex-reality TV star mom
and her reality TV loving daughter
bridge the gap between their generations through celeb news, all things Bravo,
and their own personal mommy issues.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
What's going on?
No, it's been a day. It's been just a bad week generally, I guess. I don't know. But just today it came to a head. So I have lowlights. Don't want to get into specifics, but yes, I have lowlights. And just because the reason I don't want to get into specifics is it's just such nuances, business nuances.
Yeah.
And whatever.
It's a lot. You got a lot going on.
Yeah, I do.
Do you have any highlights?
Alive.
Okay.
And
Shit,
for
man.
the most part, healthy, I think. I don't know. I haven't checked.
Things are bad when your highlight is that you're alive.
Right. But not really. Like, it shouldn't be that way.
I know, but there could be other things.
Yes,
also, hi everybody. Welcome to the show.
Sorry you missed last week, and of course you had to. By the way, it wasn't that I was so sick that I was crying in that thing you posted.
I know. You just felt bad that
not wanting to disappoint you,
people.
Which is I
get that. I know that you weren't crying for that. I knew you were crying because you were like, I feel like I have to do this because I have to show up.
Right. And I made the effort to put on when I was dying, you know what I mean? In every way. And I was like, oh.
It's also for you to be sick enough to not do the podcast, you have to be
really sick.
Really ill.
For sure.
But everybody was so nice and wishing you so well in the
I know, because really I'm such
sweet.
look, I am a really emotional person, and I think you and Kathy are too, probably. Totally. You got it from me. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's better than being just so stoic all the time that nobody knows what you feel. Totally wear my heart on my sleeve. We all try to do our best, and then it's some people, if they disappoint you, they're like, oh, well, sorry. And they never think about it again. I can't. I think about every person that buys a bottle of my sauce. I want to make sure that they're thinking they're getting a good value, that they know how to use it, that they feel like they're getting their money's worth. I know it's such a big deal when somebody even invests in that, being how groceries are so expensive. So the things that keep me awake at night it's a lot. And most people would be like, woman, relax, you know what I mean? You put on this planet for not a long period of time, focus on other things, but that's who I am.
That's how you are.
Yep.
That's how you are. Well, I have highlights and lowlights. My highlights and lowlights are sort of from last week because not much has happened.
Right, but we never told anybody.
I know. So my high is that I got a job, and not a gig. I got a proper job.
That's my highlight too.
It's funny. I was talking to Tita yesterday, and she was like, I told her, because I knew it would relieve her too, to know that she didn't have to worry. But I got a job with, full time, don't have to worry about a paycheck, health insurance, blah, 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 whatever. And that's what she was most excited for. She's like, do you get health insurance? And I was like, yeah. She's like, ay, Dios mío, qué bueno. And I was like, literally, that's truly half of the reason why I even applied to the job.
The older I get, the more I understand my mom. You know that?
Yeah.
Because, I used to think the things she worried about, it's relax. But I worry about everything like that too,
Yeah. How can you not? It's also in this economy, in this world that we're living in, I feel very grateful to have gotten a job in general, because I know that it's not normal anymore. It's not oh yeah, you get a job, you get out of college and you get a job. Or I've been freelance for almost 10 years, and it's been a huge part of 2020. And my 2020 was realizing oh, I need to settle into work and a job that's gonna not stress me out. And it took this amount of time to get there. Right. So I'm very excited. That's my high. And then my low is there was a mouse in my house. Like,
yeah, when I was there too.
I know, which is annoying.
I've never told a soul about that, just so you know, in case you thought I was gossiping. I never even
Gossiping
discussed it
about
with
the
Kathy.
mouse in my, I don't care about.
I know, but you know how like you feel like there is this perception that if you have a mouse in your house, that there's something wrong with you and or the way that you whatever, and
You're dirty.
yeah, and it's just not the case
No,
because they
there was
come
a-
in, like I have so much construction around my house now, and I'm like freaking, like I'm like so
No, you're
afraid of
thinking
leaving the
about it.
door open for even 30 seconds. And we've had that before when we first had our first house in the Grove,
Yeah.
where it was close to the water and whatever. And so, yeah, awful.
Anyways, there was a mouse in my house for quite a while. Honestly,
It was
like,
more than one, right? Or was it one?
it was one, and then when you were here, another one came out apparently that I didn't see, and then they found a hole that they were coming in through. Whatever.
But were they ever able to catch them, or do you think they just went out the hole?
They went out because they put traps in the house.
Yeah.
Once
And
they
you've never
closed the
seen it again.
hole, and then he came back on Monday to get the traps, and there was nothing in the traps. He was like, they must have left. They
Yeah.
probably come in at night because that's when they're less scared and there's less activity. Anyways, there was a mouse in my house, and it was really frustrating. It's really frustrating to have a mouse in your house and be mad about it, and then have to call somebody and be like, there's a mouse in my house. Like, that phrase is so silly.
Yeah.
And you're like mad saying it. There's a mouse in my house.
But you're trying to
like,
resolve it on your own, and even your landlord told you should have called me.
I know. Well, that was also, I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I did that, and I have to look into that.
Because you're mother's daughter, you think you can resolve everything on your own, and you don't want to bother people. And it's like, no, that's your.
It was also
landlord.
the fact that we have done so many updates, so many things have happened in the last month or so in the house. Like, we got a new fridge, and then that fridge broke, and then we had to get another fridge, and then they put a vent in the bath. There was a lot of things happening.
Was your fault, though.
No, but I think I felt like we have been asking for too much, and I feel bad. So I'm like, well, there's a mouse in the house. I can take care of that myself.
Hopefully, you know, the day that you become a landlord and you have property that you can rent out, you will see that you are the dream tenant. And that they don't care if you call to say there's a mouse in the house because you've never been a second late with your rent, and you've never caused problems. You don't throw wild parties. You don't destroy the property. In fact, you make it better. And so
I know I should have just called.
To start knowing. Yeah.
I should have just called. Well, whatever. It's great. The mouse is out of the house, but that was definitely a low, because it also made me spiral a bit because, well, before you came and the mouse was in the house, I was like, I need to get this mouse before my mom comes, because she's going to freak the fuck out, and you're coming for Christmas. And I'm like the whole thing, I thought like you are going to want to stay in a hotel the whole time.
I know, but did I freak out?
You didn't freak out, but wait, you know, what's so funny? When we told you whatever, the next day is when we saw the second mouse, and I was like, I have to text my landlord. And then you started spiraling a little bit. Like, you started doing the whole thing where you're like, you know, I saw a video one time where there was a rat that went into the baby's crib, and then they have bite marks all over their face.
Not
and
it.
I was
that's
like,
when I work. No, I'm trying. No, that wasn't spiraling. I'm trying to explain to you why it's so important to a landlord to take care of that for you right away.
I know,
because you are supposed to be, when somebody rents you a home, that you're supposed to have a safe, very livable, whatever environment, and quiet enjoyment. So that's why I said it. And it wasn't that I heard the story, is that when I worked for the Department of Housing and Urban Development, I was prosecuting slumlords. And so I was trying to explain to you, this is not what you have, but this is why they want, like,
I know.
What I wanted you to was to understand that it's not a big deal for you to ask for the help anytime, because you have a right to it. That was my point. I did not spiral. I never freaked out about it.
It's like, I just felt bad. There's a feeling of like, when your parents, you for sure get this, when your parents would come to visit you when you had small kids, and then you wanted to make sure your fridge was stocked, and like, so nobody worries. So it's like, don't worry about me. I'm good. Like, I don't want anyone to worry about me. But it's like, there was a mouse in my house. We recently lost the keys to our house. I didn't know about the lost keys. No, but then we told you. I just started to feel like, oh, I don't want people to come here and be like, oh, Beba's life is whatever. I'm totally projecting. I think I was just spiraling myself. But you know what's so funny? When you left, I didn't watch Gilmore Girls the whole time you were here, because I was working, and then we would hang out, and then I would just be tired and fall asleep. But when you left and I watched one episode of Gilmore Girls a night, that's what I do, doctor's orders. It was the episode where Lorelai goes to Emily Gilmore's house, her mom, and she talks about how there's a mouse in her inn. And Emily's like, well, do you know that rats carry diseases? Oh, you know, you have to take care of that. She's like, I got it, Mom. Don't worry about it, Mom.
I know, but
don't worry, Mom.
I am the antithesis of Emily Gilmore.
But how crazy is that? That's the episode that I turned on. Anyways, Mouse in My House, it's gone. That's my low light. Okay, we have so much stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
So we should just jump right in.
Let's do it.
Let's get into some gossip first. First and foremost, I feel like we just need to address it. Mathew Perry dead at 54. So sad.
I've got a boots on the ground on that.
What's the boots?
I don't know if that's boots on the ground. So at one point when I was single, I went on Raya briefly. Mm-hmm. And that was the first person
that you matched with?
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
Oh my God.
Yeah. And but nothing, because
I talked to him.
No, because after that I went back with, and then never did. But it was just funny.
Oh boy. Well, yeah. R.I.P. Mathew Perry. It's very sad. Okay, moving on. It's fucked up to move on, but that's what we're doing.
It's horrible. It's so sad. And he's not the only one. There's been a lot of deaths of young people. This one actor from General Hospital also just died at 50 years old. This drowning? Is why
not drowning.
No, not drowning. Oh, okay. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was like self-induced or he had a heart attack or whatever. Yeah. The point is that when I tell you I'm alive as a highlight,
right? It's like
it's a real highlight. Because people younger than me are dropping dead like flies. And so
no, you're right.
The fact that tomorrow is not promised, we need to say that I'm alive and healthy is a highlight.
That is a highlight. You're right. That's my highlight now too. I'm alive.
Good.
Okay. Should we talk about this Vanity Fair article that came out? The reality TV reckoning.
So let me tell you what I think about it. Number one, I have a certain expectation with Vanity Fair that you're going to entertain me, that your writing is going to be good enough to warrant being in Vanity Fair. And if you're going to write an article that's that long and that boring,
it really
you owe me money. You owe me money. You owe me money. It's so poorly written. It was also not written in a way that I think addressed everything fairly. Do you know what I mean? Like I think they were sparing NBC. I think they were sparing Andy. I think they were whatever. Not that I'm saying that Andy is responsible. I'm not even going to touch any of that. I'm just saying fair and accurate reporting should be fair, unbiased, objective, accurate reporting. And I don't feel that it was.
But do you even know what was being reported? Like it all felt so unclear to me.
It was super unclear.
And I was like, what are we taking down right now? I'm actually, it feels so muddled. I don't know what's happening.
So this whole Bravo reckoning, here's what I got from the article. Number one, I continue to think that Bethany is psychotic. And it's also shocking to me because, again, here's a woman who is, I don't care what anybody says. She's crazy. She's unhinged, but she's smart. She's smart.
Definitely smart. She's definitely smart.
She's just using her intelligence. She's allowing her ego to cloud her intelligence. And that's the problem that I see. I love Ebony. I've become friendly with Ebony and I have a lot of respect for Ebony. And the fact that Ebony has really no interest in being a house, she really doesn't. And she doesn't care. She has a show on, she's a TV judge. She's so good at it. She's so good at being a legal talking head. She's supposed to do that. Yeah. It's a waste of intelligence to put her in any other role than that. And I love her. I love that she said, fuck Bethany Frankel. I'm not letting that skinny white bitch determine my awesome, bravo.
But I'm confused as to why one, they only got 3 people to go quote unquote on the record about what I don't even know.
Because nobody else will go on the record.
But I think the biggest, I don't know if I don't think you listen to Las Culturistas, but this is not my thought. I'm just echoing the thought that they had that I think is true, that I've said before. It's reality TV in its nature is exploitive. Which one is it?
Exploitive. But it is.
And for somebody to capitalize on reality TV and grow a business to then sell it for millions of dollars, and then come back and say, fuck you, you ruined my life, and you're ruining lives of other people who volunteer.
You're talking about the Bethany thing.
I'm talking about Bethany leading the charge over something that is voluntary. It's not crazy as a producer to stock a fridge full of alcohol for a girls' trip when that's what's being asked of the cast.
Look, it's funny because somebody wrote in a comment, and Andy, of course, put a laughing face to it, was like, so basically what we got out of this article is that Ramona is a racist and adults drink. And in a nutshell.
No, 100%. And by the way, the best thing that has come out of the Vanity Fair article, the thing that actually needed to happen was Ramona having consequences to her.
She got fired from her real
Douglas
estate
Element,
company.
as she fucking should. And she's no longer able to go to BravoCon, as she should. That is all.
Agreed. That was the best thing to happen. That's long overdue. That's
Absolutely.
long overdue. But I also think it muddies the water and makes other people that have some responsibility. See, here's the thing. Here's something that you don't understand in torts or legal things. Okay, so there's something called the eggshell theory, right? If all humans have heads, but if you happen to come across a human whose head is made out of an eggshell, they are more fragile. And so if you just go like this, the egg breaks. When you can go like this to my hard wooden head and nothing will happen, right? So the problem with what Bravo is doing is that the eggshells are being hurt and they are applying things across the board.
Right, exactly.
We're dealing with humans who are susceptible. So if you have somebody that is in recovery from drinking and drinking could kill them, yes, you need to handle them differently.
Yes.
You cannot, in essence, hope, even if they're not hoping. I don't really feel that Bravo or Andy hope that Leah would have
relapse.
a relapse.
Absolutely
I don't believe that. But the competition that has been created in this environment, there is a direct relation to the amount of your paycheck to how much you misbehave.
Yes.
The more you're willing to make an ass of yourself,
yes,
the bigger your paycheck.
But that's what's happening in the whole franchise. Like as a whole, it's evolved into that, where it used to not be like that. Right. It used to be like, yeah, these women are like, quote unquote, making a fool out of themselves because they're living out loud on TV, but they weren't actively trying to have physical altercations or like ruin people's lives or relapse.
And what
on
happens
TV.
Is that what Bravo has shown them is that the more you misbehave, the higher the paycheck.
Yes.
Then there's competition to become a housewife. There's competition to be a producer of a housewife show. So what's happening? Shed is now taking creative license, telling them, do this, do that, do whatever. And yeah, I really think there's something wrong with that. I think there's something wrong with that when you have eggshell people there that are really getting hurt.
Right. But the thing is, like, you can do as much due diligence as a producer, a production company, whatever, with somebody like, I'm just saying Leah as an example, because we're using her as this person who relapsed from alcoholism. She was sober for 9 years and then relapsed.
But I'm not talking about due diligence. When you're there, there should be a psychologist there. There should be whatever. I think there needs to be some changes. Beba, it's completely different from when I was a housewife, which was at the beginning of the housewife world.
Yeah.
They gave us a therapist,
right.
But we really didn't need it because we were not so far gone.
The
whole thing wasn't as toxic as it is today. Right.
I agree.
For lack of a better word.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I think is happening. And then this Bravo reckoning, I do think it's happening. I think they're getting a ton of lawsuits, a ton of EEOC complaints. I think there has been stuff. You've been to Watch What Happens Live. The drinks are strong.
But that's the nature
what's
of the
wrong
show.
with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. I think you're right. There has to be some stuff that's adjusted. Fine. The way that they did with New York, those women were either racist, sexist, misogynistic, whatever it was, ageist. There was a lot happening, and they threw out the old and brought in people who represented the city better. And it's people who like get along. I think that has to happen for a lot of these franchises. Not all of them, but a lot of them, because it's the reason why I'm not watching Potomac. I will not watch Potomac
It's
this
the
season.
thing is that we think it's one, like look, with any business, my sauce business, your whatever you do, it is always changing. Whatever it is that, right, all this, like whatever it is that you're doing, it changes, right?
Right.
So now the more that we're exposed as humans to content, we have higher standards for content. Do you remember before you can post a picture and get 50,000 likes on one picture of something shitty? Now they want you to perform like brain surgery while doing a smoky eye. And then only that will get you a lot of likes. So we have really high standards for what we want. And if we're going to sit down to be entertained, now entertain me. And we want crazy women acting crazy. We want to be. So then now, in order for the women to stay in the business, they have to behave that way. For the network to stay in the game, they have to provide that kind of content. And the producers, in order to get the gig from the network, they have to create that kind of thing. So this is what's happening. I think the malice aspect doesn't exist.
I agree. And I think you're right. I think
but I do think there's a responsibility anyway.
I think you're right. It's change is coming. Change has to come because things have changed. So you have to grow with it. And that's it. But like, I think reality reckoning is making it this thing of like, Bravo is out. Like we got to.
No, Bravo's not going anywhere.
Toss it all out. And it's like, no,
I don't think we need to throw out the baby with the bathwater, but I do think that they need to bring in consultants that really understand mental health and where mental health is today and how mental health has been affected by reality TV and social media and everything else. And then give these women the support so that they can still be entertaining, still be themselves without hurting themselves or others.
I think it's the same thing as what happened with Harvey Weinstein and like the Me Too movement. The way that now for when you're on set, there's a sex scene, there's now an intimacy coordinator. That is a new job that never existed before that they brought in for actors to feel safe, for everyone to feel comfortable and safe. And that's like, that was a tiny shift, quote unquote, tiny shift that helped. It has helped. And I think you're right. I think that has to happen for this whole thing.
Yeah. And I do think that, one of my favorite sayings, to whom much is given, much is expected. Yeah. And he built this. He also got lucky. There's a luck and skill involved. And I think that he needs to look at this seriously and say, what can I do to make this better?
My responsibility.
Without accepting fault. Like nobody's blaming. I'm not blaming him. But I do think we need to do better, guys. We all need to do better. Yeah. And so we need to protect these women because some of them are not capable of protecting themselves. Yeah. Like I can tell you, me, for example, I know, I need to clean this thing. It's dirty, right? Am I blurred?
Your camera?
My phone is always dirty.
Yeah, your phone is always makeup. Like
I know,
on it.
My friend Jenny told me that nothing makes me look more like a dinosaur than posting pictures that are blurry because my phone is not clean, and that she's going to call me out on it every time, which I'm not surprised. She is of my daughters because I honestly see her. She's like my friend, but I know that there's a dynamic where I'm kind of like a mother figure to her, and I see her a little bit like a daughter. She's my most difficult child.
She's the middle one.
She is so no. She's
I thought I was your most difficult child.
No, you would be the middle one. Kathy would be the middle one. She's the oldest.
Oh, okay.
I think Jenny's older, but like she is, she will not mince words, man.
I love it. I think you need that.
I love her. But yeah, so she told me I'm a dinosaur. Anyway, so yeah, I think shit's gonna happen. I think it's really funny that Leah just said recently, I think she filed a complaint with the ECOC.
Yeah.
And that she will never ever settle. It's like, throw her $2 million.
I know, like literally, I thought that
nobody would ever say that. You can only say that if you're Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or somebody, or not even at that level, but just, Anthony Lopez, which is 39.
The right number, you'll settle, babe. So come on.
Absolutely. Because it would almost be financially irresponsible not to settle.
Exactly. And you have a kid, dude.
And you have a kid and like whatever. No, mama no la mierda. Right.
Yeah. Anyways.
But and I used to think that the fact that there are so many people doing this now, I think that Bravo's not going to be settling because they're going to open up a whole can of worms. So I think
they have to, I think they know they have to make some changes, but it's interesting. I know that this article was pushed out before BravoCon because they thought it was going to shake everything up, and everyone's like, yeah, whatever. This was stupid and it feels rushed and it's poorly written and not enough people came forward for it to be a real thing. Right. So it's unfortunate because it kind of just died. People are talking about it, but not in the way that I thought that they would.
Right. And then Bethany, who just can never lose, she posted something that Ebony sent her a long time ago,
from like 2020, dude.
Do you know who she is today compared to who she was in 2020? Like,
do
Bethany?
You know who everyone is? Like, everyone,
no, but especially her. No, but who has become the most unhinged person in the world? It's her. So, like, she was not writing that to Bethany today.
No,
she was writing that to Bethany circa 2020, who's not even the same thing.
But Bethany will like stop at nothing. She really will. She doesn't know a line. And I think she prides herself in that. And I think it's like a very archaic way of thinking, of not having a line. She will stop at nothing.
I think that she needs to remember she has a daughter that's watching her very closely. And that kid seems like such a great kid. Like, she seems like she was, she's a freaking Rory. You know what I mean?
I was going to say the same thing.
And she's no Lorelai, you know, like our whole life is now Gilmore Girls because it's our
That's why I was like, I'm going to try not to say this.
If you, I know we've talked about this before, but if you're feeling down and you before you just go and get on antidepressants, really do yourself a favor and watch an episode. There's 170 episodes, so you have a long time.
No, it's if you're out on the road feeling lonely and so cold, all you have to do is call my name and I'll be there on the next train. Where you lead, I will follow anywhere that you tell me to. If you need me to be with you, I will follow. Oh.
You think we'll get a recording contract?
I think there's going to be a podcast reckoning. They'll be like, take them off the air.
Take them off the air. My mother just sent me like the cutest text.
Read it aloud.
Wait.
Hola, mija. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah.
Come closer. Up, go up. Gracias, te quiero mucho, mami. Those are a lot of emojis. She gave you a red rose.
She's so sweet.
Beautiful. You've never seen an emoji. Okay, let's move on. I feel like we gave this a lot of time.
I know, but it needed it. I really think that we're not really like on anyone's side when it's this. Like, we just see the truth. Like, we see the truth, and from whatever, for lack of a better term, like on the inside, we've been there. We've both been there. Really, it's not only me. You were there too. Yeah. You've been at Watch What Happens Live. You've been at all those things. But they used to live in our house for weeks and weeks and weeks, and nobody's like, here, have a drink, here, you underage child, or why aren't you drinking enough? And it's like, I've never been a drinker. Nobody pushed me to drink alcohol. Again, many years ago.
Yeah, different time.
Don't know. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Next order of business. Skims came out with a nipple bra.
What is it that shows nipples?
It's a bra that has tiny little.
Oh, okay.
Because that's in right now. Like, what's in right now is like wearing like a little shirt that you can see your nipples through. And so Kim was like, okay, kind of smart.
And that's fine. Yeah.
And that's fine.
There's a market for that. Like, I don't want a nipple shirt. I'm trying to avoid showing them. But if that's the thing, good for her.
No, that's how I feel. Also, like, you should see the size of these nipples. Like, they're like tiny little. Where it's like, guys, some people have nipples that are different. Okay.
Oh, I don't. Mine are like so tiny.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Mine are very, very dignified and tiny and whatever.
Yeah, mine too. Mine are very small and very pink.
Right. Mine look almost the same color as my skin. Seriously.
Okay. We're moving on.
I'm sorry. I'm a white presenting person.
Okay. You should be so proud. Okay, speaking of clothing, Kylie Jenner has started a new clothing line called Kai. and I bought something.
Of course you did. Of course you did. What is
No,
it?
what do you mean? Of course I did. I honestly had no intention. All her stuff is like,
what is it? Underwear with pubic hair? Already?
No, she's doing, this is actually interesting because I did read a Vogue article that she did to promote it, and they're different drops. So she has like a trench coat that's like leather. It's faux leather, a leather mini dress. It's a couple pieces, but she has under garments, like things that would technically go under. It's like the perfect legging, and then this perfect black long sleeve mock neck shirt. I just bought the mock neck long sleeve shirt because a mock neck looks great on me, and I've been needing one, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy it. So I'll let you know when it comes in.
Is it something that you could have found somewhere else a lot cheaper?
100%.
Ay, que come mierda tú eres.
But listen, I'm not above returning. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like to send things back in the mail. I will return everything.
Well, I don't ever go to the store, so I don't over return because I've learned what works for me, what brands work for me, and what works for whatever. But
I saw her. I don't mean to say this in a humble brag way, but Kylie and I have similar bodies. Okay, we're curvy.
No, you don't.
Skinny women.
No, but you are tall and whatever. You do not have that bottom heaviness.
Okay, I just mean whatever. I saw her put on this long sleeve mock neck shirt, and I was like, that's gonna look so good.
It's gonna look better.
I'm gonna wear that all through fall, all
right.
Through
so
winter.
then that's the CPU, right? That's the way I see it.
It's girl math. It's girl math. It's like I'm gonna wear it a lot. And was it
called the CPU? Like, give it the name.
It's called a CPU, of course.
Like cost per use.
Cost per use.
Yeah,
of course.
If it works, no, I'm serious. If you have a pair of jeans that are like $300, but you wear them 3 times a week, and you've kept them for 5 years, I mean, then fine. Then why buy 10 pair of Gap jeans?
Right. So the Gen Z thing, or the millennial Gen Z thing, now they're calling it girl math. It's like, okay, this is $400, but if I use it every day for the next 3 months.
First of all, here's, I don't want to get into a tangent with this, but we don't want things to be girl this or guy that or whatever. Why don't we just call it math? But like that already existed. You guys didn't invent girl math, and you didn't invent girl dinner. You invented, like, girl dinner is just like, I don't feel like cooking. Right. Let me throw this shit together. I just think that it helps. It doesn't help us move forward as a
and what's helping us move forward?
I don't care. I'm not a big right. Well, yes,
nothing is helping us move forward. Honestly.
Actually, I don't think
we are stuck. We are.
By the way, who do you think the women are wearing the nipple bra for?
I think
to attract a partner, and I'm not even going to say opposite sex because it doesn't matter, right? Whoever, to attract, or for themselves. Do you think they like to look in the mirror and say like, oh, look, I couldn't show nipple before, now I have a nipple? If it empowers you and makes you feel good, go get the nipple bra.
Yeah.
I
agree. So, I'm just saying, like, I don't think girl math and girl dinner is setting us back. I think a lot of things are setting us back.
Well, yes, but that's among them.
All right. Anyways, speaking of setting us back, this doesn't apply to that. I don't know why I said that, but I bought Britney Spears' book.
Oh, I know. Did you finally start it?
The Woman in Me. I'm almost done with it. And let me tell you something. When I started it, I was like, this is, first of all, she wrote it. She did. She had a ghostwriter fix it, but it's her, because the way that it's written, it's like, it's her. It's written like her captions on Instagram. I am almost done with the book, and I have cried like 3 times. The way that people, you just start thinking back about, like, with everything, and just hearing it in her own words, and then hearing how many times her kids were taken away from her. That's like what really got me. I could cry thinking about it right now. It's so sad.
She's another person that's an egghead, and she was not treated as one. You know what I'm saying? Like, she had becoming famous so young affected her, and instead of helping her, she was like basically abused and exploited and
all of those
taken
things.
Advantage of,
Yes, and her parents were incredibly abusive. They put her on a hamster wheel to make them money. They didn't give a fuck about her. They still don't. They still don't. It's so devastating. It's so sad. But
again, like, that's why I'm saying sometimes, you never know what somebody's reality is. And that's why, if I had one wish in this world, one wish, I would eliminate social media altogether. Like, I wish it had never become a thing, because I think that it's responsible for so much sadness, depression. I think that school shootings are connected to social media. I think everything is connected to social media. I think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to us, but we can't unsee it now. I'm not saying that doesn't have some good things, but we can't unsee it and we can't go back. And I wish we could go back. I wish we
God, me too. It was so, remember the 90s? The 90s were great.
Yeah.
90s were great. It's like you could not be invited to something and you would never know about it, and
you
it's
would
okay.
never know.
And like,
and by the way, you can choose to live that way. Yeah. Which in a way I have. There's things I don't look at. I don't want to know. I don't want to engage, because my mental health matters, but that requires somebody being self-aware, and the majority of people, especially in Miami, are not self-aware, which is my biggest problem.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm excited to talk about the episode 1 Miami, but
okay.
We'll get
you know what? We can go into that, and you can start and you tell me what you think. First, can we talk briefly about the cutest birth announcement in the history of the world?
Oh my God. Yeah. So Nicole from Miami is pregnant,
which
with baby number 2.
I hadn't told you, but I knew that, she was trying, and we had talked about it, and so I knew about it, but boy, that announcement.
It was cute.
They just do everything over the top, but it's so cute.
But it's cute to do things over the top, and like it's clear that Anthony's like on board with it, because
he is on board. He loves him. Andy loves him.
I know, but
he likes him more than her.
But I think sometimes it could feel like, especially a housewife, when something like that is done, and you can see in the face of the guy that he's like, "Kill me," and that's not the vibe.
I'm 100% sure it was his idea.
Oh, okay. Then great. I
100% sure. He is such a ham. He also knows the benefit of advertising, and that's advertising, their lifestyle, their whatever, and he's killing it.
They're running home to the bank. That is for sure. Yeah. Okay, let's just get into Miami, and then we'll talk Beverly Hills after. Here are my notes. I'm just going to read you my notes, and then we can go into stuff, because this is genuine. I was really trying to watch with like an open heart and open mind. I will say I am triggered by Miami. Like when it was coming up, I had this feeling of like, I don't want to watch it, because I feel probably
it's
the same way you feel.
Right. It's a different experience.
It's your home
when you know the people.
Yes.
And you know what they're capable of.
But I don't know the people that well. And especially even if I did know them, I don't know them anymore. So it's not even like, I don't know. I have a hard time with it. So I was like, I'm going to approach this without any negativity, because I think that's hard, but whatever. These are my notes. 1, I'm so happy for Lisa. 2, I've always liked Alexia. 3, Alexia and Julia having lunch alone. The 2 pairs have broken up, Julia and Adriana, and Alexia and Marisol. And it's so refreshing to see them.
True.
Hold on. I don't agree with Julia and the Marisol fight about her being, those were my notes.
I don't have anything that specific. So I like the show. I like how the show looks. I love the job.
Oh, they've definitely stepped up production wise. They're giving us slow-mo. They're giving us Miami. They're showing us like a sexy Miami.
They're giving us Miami. I think I talk to them sometimes, I love them, Matt and Cooper and Nate and all that. And I've talked to Matt sometimes, and they are very in tune. They want to give viewers what they want, and they're in tune with what doesn't work. And so I think that if Marisol is going to be Marisol, and Marisol is being Marisol, they're going to let her be Marisol, and they're not going to cover that up. Right. And I think that, like I told you, I think the biggest problem with Alexia is Marisol. There's stuff as that. I think Julia is very passionate and very a person that likes justice and things the right way, and I see that about her, and so I think that's what she's doing. And I think we need more episodes to go by to see if she's right about that. I don't know. For the most part, what I read is that people were mostly on her side. I don't
on Julia's side or Alexia's side.
No, like with the Julia Marisol thing.
So the issue that I had was that Julia wants to take down Marisol, and I get that because I think she sees her as a bad person and doesn't want to paint her in a light that she's been painted as last
right,
season.
and also she lies all the time, and I don't think that problem is only going to be with Julia.
I know, but
we're going to see
that. I think it was the first episode, and probably not probably, it was the first time that they all were back together since the New York reunion. And Julia is clearly fired up. She wants to fight with Marisol. She wants to take her down, but she did it in the wrong way because she was saying like, you showed up here because Adriana was going to be here and you knew and you wanted to start.
I don't remember.
I don't believe that. The fight, like the whole fight was wrong. It wasn't that Marisol came because she wanted to fight with Adriana. I'm certain that Marisol did not want to be there. She came because she did want to support Alexia because Todd wasn't there, whatever.
I think that, so that I was Marisol like, puts wrong. Too much pressure on Alexia. I think Marisol puts too much pressure on Alexia. And when
she puts her in a bad spot.
Yeah. When she decided, let's let this go and do this New Horizons, then it should have been across the board. And I think it's unreasonable for Marisol to say, I'm not doing that. And the problem is that you know her and I know her, and we know that it wasn't because she was so offended by Adriana. She wants Adriana out of the picture so she can get her fucking mojito. And if that wasn't the case, then you could take her seriously, but she's got a one-track mind. That's all she cares about. And she will run anybody over to make that happen. And I agree. When you're with her 24/7, being in that group, they must be sick of her, you know, but she's in Alexia's ear, and Alexia has there's a couple of things. And if you watch What Happens Live, you'll see this about Alexia. Alexia is self-righteous and extremely insecure. That's a lethal combination. If you watch her, the entire time she's looking at herself, the whole time.
Everybody does that.
No, that whatever. Then when she's answering questions with Garcelle, she looks at Garcelle and Garcelle goes, false. And she goes, false. Like she doesn't come up with her own answer or whatever. Yes. That whole thing is insecure. But then at the same time, it's like, well, why can't I be in the seat and all this stuff? But all that about Alexia is kind of what makes Alexia Alexia. For example, what I've heard, what I've seen in social media, like if you don't find, compared to other people there, the biggest joke on that show is Alexia. Have you just even the way she dresses, that hat, that thing, it's like a crazy old bat. You know what I mean? And so when you see that, it's like, why are you doing this to Miami? You know what I mean? And
that's the part that I feel why it's hard for me to watch a show sometimes, because I'm like, oh my God, people think that's Miami. And that's not what Miami is.
And I don't want that. Like,
but she's representing a different part where it's like Julia's representing this part on the farm. Nicole's representing this like incredibly wealthy and like gorgeous lifestyle. And then you have Lisa and her marble mansion. You know what I mean? It's all like, they're all so different. And I think that's why Miami works for so many people. They're like, you are seeing every single version of the melting pot that is Miami. Great. If that's what it is, then great. Then I have to be open to it and be like, that is Miami. That actually is Miami. It is a melting pot. Everyone is so fucking different and fine.
But we have to be able to say that Watch What Happens Live was super cringy. And
it was cringy.
And to say
I turned it off.
And to say that Garcelle thought she was a joke, and Andy thought she was a joke. Nobody here thinks like, but then there's people that are going like, finally, you deserve to be in that seat. It's like,
I just to be in the seat at the Watch What Happens Live.
Yeah.
That Alexia does, but she's been on there.
No, that she deserved to have the first seat. I'm talking about the issue like with the first seat.
I didn't know that. Is that what she said on Watch What Happens Live? I didn't watch the whole thing.
Marcel had to get up. No. Garcelle had to get up and give her the seat because she felt that she didn't know how to express this because she doesn't know the term, but she thought Miami was a red-headed stepchild of the franchises. I know Alexia speak like that's what she was trying to say. And
oh my God.
I don't know if
Garcelle was like, okay, sure, and got up.
Seat. Yeah.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
And then she posted a whole thing. Right. So that's why the whole thing was so cringy, because somebody was on, like, the last time somebody was on that kept looking at themselves, I think it was Julia Fox. She said, I got the notes. Everybody told me I was looking at myself and whatever. And now I'm not going to look at myself at all. Well, she was doing it the whole time. And because she's not that smart, she would have trouble answering the questions, and
because she was so caught up looking at herself.
Yeah. And so I just,
Oy.
She takes advice from like the wrong people. I kind of wish I could be her advisor. I think she could do
what
great.
was really hard was when she was giving the speech at her party. Oh my God. First of all, I felt bad for her.
Why did she read?
But I felt
reading
bad.
was so embarrassing.
Oh my God, that was really bad. It was
But
cringy.
the worst part was her and Todd at the beach.
So I felt for Alexia when she was like talking about taking accountability and whatever. It seemed like the reunion rattled her. And I think it wasn't the conflict in the reunion. I think the aftermath of the comments and stuff probably is what rattled her, because what happened after the reunion last season was everybody was like, Alexia and Marisol are bad. And she's like, that can't happen. I need to like revive my life. I've been waiting 8 years for this show to come back on the air. I can't die. And I felt for her in that moment, because I'm like, desperado, you know what I mean? And then she like, and I know everyone's wondering, where's Todd? Don't worry, we're not getting a divorce. It's like, honey, thou protest.
Well, we knew that. Remember, I told you I knew that it looked like they were having some issues. And by the way, of course they're having issues. This show is not easy on people, and so
divorce
like, a lot
central.
of times, why would people watch us talk about a housewife stuff instead of somebody else that's not? Well, because I do have some insight. You understand? And I do know her
totally
well. Like,
yeah,
I know her well. Like, we're not friends like that anymore, but I know her.
know her.
I could tell, I would put all the money in the world and predict what her next move will be, because it's that easy to predict.
Right.
I have that ability with most people, but not with everybody. But she is easy to predict. So here she is, and this is, I know how she feels. This is her last hurrah. She knows whatever, but now she's surrounded by freaking Nicole, right? And the life she wished she had.
And because she's younger, that is her and dream. Has more potential and whatever.
That. Yeah. She's a doctor. She's smart. She thinks on her feet. But the life, that's her Alexia's dream.
That's her dream.
Todd is not that.
By the way,
by the way, I like Todd now.
Oh.
Because I see that Todd is like, he's trying. He's trying. He's not dumb, and he's trying to be like the next, like Tony Robbins, kind of Grant Cardone guy, you know, like trying to, but he's trying to help people, like invest in business and whatever. I give him credit, like I really do. But no, he's not Anthony. He's not Anthony.
No, he's not.
And he wishes he was, but he also admits that it's like, I'm not there yet, but I'm gonna get there. And I'm like rooting for him, like I really am.
Yeah, but
he wants that instantly.
But don't you think also, like, what she signed up for was a partner in crime to be doing this thing with, and then he does something so embarrassingly cringy of this 7, 8, 9 minute long apology video on Instagram, no less, to Anthony, and then he's so embarrassed by it. He's like, he doesn't want anyone to bring it up, so he bails on her last minute too.
We don't know that that's the truth. Like, I feel like when you see other,
she was crushed by that, and like acted also like it was just the end of her life, because I think she
has a lot of pride. Alexia has a lot of pride. Alexia will not say, like, for example, like if, somebody was telling me like on their podcast that Marisol tends to be more honest about like, she might not say she did a facelift, but I've done the strings that hold up my face and I've done this and that. And she goes, I really don't think you should say all that stuff, Right. She likes to keep that stuff. So she probably thought, that Todd shouldn't have said anything. I know that it was a long thing. He's long-winded. If you look at his social media, no, he's long-winded. Even but it was when also he's trying to explain to you how to buy.
That he wrote, like he wrote it all on a paper, and then you see the paper, and the angle of it is bad. And it was like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I know that it was cringy, but I like the honesty of it. I like the honesty of it.
Wouldn't it be better to just go?
It would have been better.
Hey, Anthony, you want to meet for lunch or dinner or drinks? And then you tell him the apology. He wants attention. He is Shannon Bedore's ex-boyfriend.
I'm reading that differently. I cannot even believe I'm defending Todd.
I can't believe it either.
Lacks sophistication, but Todd is smart. He's smart in a different way. He's smart in
I believe he's smart.
He's smart in a non-polished way, but he's smart. He does not know how this thing works. So he thought, these people live publicly.
Right.
And so what am I going to do? Go behind the scenes, say sorry, whatever. It's like, I fucked up publicly. I'm going to apologize publicly.
Right. But what
it's common sense, but it didn't, he could have done it shorter. It didn't land right. But I liked the honesty of it. I felt that he was genuine.
But it's cowardly to not show up and get your piece of it for the embarrassment of it when your wife gets flack all the time. And
but that is assuming cool. Right. But that is assuming that that's the real reason he wasn't there, because he's not at BravoCon either. So right now he's not at BravoCon. And he hasn't. He wasn't at Watch What Happens Live.
I think he's a little bitch and didn't want to get the flack anywhere.
No,
I think he's so embarrassed.
I think that, as is very possible, this show may be having some putting pressure on their marriage, which sucks, because she's been through a lot in her life and she deserves to have a good relationship. She
does.
And I think that that's what's happening there. The reason that it doesn't affect Marisol or Steven anyway is because that's not a real marriage.
Yeah.
No, it's not. She's either a beard, which I don't know if he is gay, not that there's anything wrong with that, but she's certainly not the type of woman the mother of his children is this gorgeous, like together, whatever, not a lush, not an alcoholic, not a crazy monster. And yes, I dislike Marisol. And if you think I'm overdoing it by saying those things about Marisol, I've got a lot more where that came from.
I don't think you're overdoing it. She sucks. But yeah, I feel bad.
We don't know. We need to wait. But I agree. I see what you're saying, but I would not attack Todd, because inherently Todd is a more honest, transparent person than Alexia. And Alexia feels that she's got to keep a mystery. And that's her prerogative. There's something to be said about mystery. Like you and I say everything. Well, and that's right. I know. I know that some of the things that you regret, but like there is something to be said. But if you're hiding so much, that's also bad, because this requires that kind of.
But to me, she was being open, because the fact that she was just talking about on FaceTime, like, he's not coming and this is why, and then crying about it. And then at the party, anyone who would ask, she was like, yeah, he's not here. I'm in shock too. I'm in shock. It's like, there's also something to be said about, like, it's your marriage. Like, you shouldn't be divulging every single moment that you're having hardship with everybody, because when you fix it, people are going to be like, well, what the hell?
This is the problem that I'm telling you with Alexia. Like, I almost think that she should have a consultant.
I think she should. I really do.
Because she does, number one, she doesn't know how to process these things. And she is asked, like, she's getting a lot of advice from different people, and her worst enemy is Marisol.
I know.
Like, Alexia, just do the opposite.
But that's why I think I feel bad. It's what you just said. I don't think she doesn't have the tools to process.
She does not have the tools.
She doesn't know how, and that makes me sad, because that's a generational thing. I don't think her parents ever helped her find the help. I don't think she ever had the support.
Her mother was a very smart woman. Like, I know her mother. Yeah, but I spent a lot of hours talking to her mother. Her mother was no nonsense.
Yeah, but Cuban generation, that generation, there's no therapy. There's no whatever. There's nothing wrong with you.
She was a therapist. Let me tell you Marisol, Alexia's mother was a doctor. May she rest in peace. Was a doctor, a psychologist. Lived in Spain most of her life. She wasn't your typical Cuban mother.
So then that's even worse, because I think when your parents are therapists or psychologists, you do need to go to therapy, because your parents are constantly psychoanalyzing you.
In fact, right now, her mother would probably be very useful to her in this situation. I think that she needs to think about herself, how she's coming across. If she's coming across as who she is, this is not about changing who you are. If you're coming across as who you are and you're okay with that, dale, go for it.
Yeah.
But I also think that these people are going, the Marisols of the world are going to destroy her marriage and destroy her image if she lets them. Because Marisol is not going down without pulling her down with her.
And because Marisol is smart and manipulative, and
she is,
and Alexia is malleable and gullible, and it's a disaster waiting to happen.
Marisol is 20 million times smarter than Alexia. That is a fact. And that's fine. But that's why she needs advice.
And that's why she's able to put her in those positions, because she knows that she'll just like bend over for Marisol and do whatever she wants. And I was impressed by the fact that she just told her, Adriana's coming and I need you here. And Marisol came, and I was like, okay, good.
Of
Maybe
course
now you have a little bit of power.
And what did we learn about that? What did we learn about that? Number one, that she has power. Number two, that Marisol will go to the opening of an envelope.
Absolutely. She'll do whatever.
You know what I'm saying? She was never not going to go. She was trying to test, like, Alexia's my friend. Alexia's my friend. No, Alexia can be friends with all those women. Alexia needs to develop friendships with all those women, all of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And by the way, this kind of relationship of like her and Marisol have been best friends for 20 years, absolutely untrue. When Frankie was in the hospital, that I was there. I haven't been friends. I've known Alexia for many years, but we weren't ever that close. We got close because a show like this makes you close.
Yeah.
And I always gave her good advice. I never hurt her. I protected her. And you know what? You can go back and see that in the reunions and the whatever. I was, because I felt it was the right thing to do. And I didn't feel that she needed to be attacked. And I defended Marisol too, because I was an idiot. But she needs to now decide, like, I am this individual entity. I'm not part of Marisol.
Exactly.
She was not best friends with Marisol. Marisol was never at the hospital. Marisol went to the hospital when there was people there, and she showed up decked out and thought that she could make a social event out of it. She wasn't there at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
they weren't that close. She attached to her because she saw that there was something to be
potential.
Because Alexia is the most, like,
she's
as far as a Miami housewife, what's better? She's Latin. No, I'm saying, if you're talking about iconic, right? If you want an iconic Miami housewife, I think that's what it is.
Totally.
That's not a package deal. That's a one singular person. And she needs to recognize that. And I also think she needs to take care of Todd, because we're going to see, I don't think Todd's the type of person that would shy away from a dinner because he was embarrassed by his thing. No, there's more to that there. There's more. And I think she's not the type to divulge it. She's not the type to divulge it because she's a believer that, like, don't tell anybody about your whatever, because, you know, and that's her right. But I don't think that we should throw him under the bus.
No, I think you're right. Also, that just the mere mention of divorce that she said, she was like, don't worry, we're not getting divorced. Like, there's got to be more under the surface there. That doesn't happen just because of an apology video.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The fact that we're not getting divorced, that means at some point the word divorce has come up, that there has been issues in the marriage as a result of not the apology. This whole show fucks up your marriages.
That's what they say.
It's a lot of pressure. It turns you into somebody else. It turns you into whatever. Todd is about his business. His girls are now going to college. Notice when he was talking, you know, she didn't even know what to do. Alexia's finding her footing. Like, did you see that scene on the beach? That to me was the most telling scene. Is boring in the sense that there was nothing there, but I saw more in that scene than I saw in any other scene.
Yeah, I think
they're trying to make her different, and she is struggling with her loyalty to Marisol, her kind of still belief that Marisol knows everything, because Marisol comes across as very smart and very savvy in the world of PR and Bravo sphere, right?
And it's also the job of housewives is to, like, bring up drama, and, like, that's Marisol's bread and butter, that she knows everything about everybody, and she gives info to Alexia, and then Alexia can go off and, like, become a story.
I think that Alexia, you know, we'll see.
Alexia is on a bridge. Alexia is on a bridge right now. It's like what I talk about in therapy. I'm on a bridge right now. It's the worst feeling in the entire world. You're between two versions of yourself, and you have to transition from this past version that feels like really comfortable, but you need to push yourself into this new one that's better for you.
I'm there too. And it's funny that you never outgrow that, you know?
No,
look at my age and yours.
Are you kidding me? There's a bridge in every phase of your life. It is the worst
you know what
place
it's called?
To be.
Evolution, which is my favorite word in the English language. If you don't evolve, you die. You're stagnant, and you will live a miserable life. You need to continue evolving. And I do think that she needs to do that. Also, you can remain a great housewife with the ebbs and flows of other people's stories. Right now, she's not the story.
And that's a good thing. I think that's a great opportunity for Alexia.
It's an opportunity for her.
Be there for other people. Be there. She's
older, right? She's older. She needs to recognize she's older. That's another thing. You're like when I tell you, she needs to be aware of that.
When she said that, oh, I'm getting old. Like, does that mean I'm getting older? I wanted to be like, yes. And guess what? That's amazing. That's so amazing. Good. Because with age comes growth, comes
wisdom, comes confidence,
comes not giving a fuck about what people think about you.
So imagine she's surrounded by all these people that are at least 15, you know, most of them 15, 16 more years younger than you. means technically you could be their mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be that figure. We don't have that figure there. Be that. To Nicole, what a great thing. If I was on that show, I'd be Nicole's like second mom.
Yeah.
Not because I decide to be that. I naturally would be that.
You would just
I would fall into that because that's what I do with my friend.
But that's because you know who you are and you know how you would benefit a group.
Self-awareness.
Yes, I think that
Beba, self-awareness is the greatest gift you can give yourself.
I have too much self-awareness, to be honest.
I'm like, have you noticed how most people have none?
Are you kidding? Yes.
So bad.
We're all on bridges. Everybody just honest. The best advice I can give anybody on a bridge, Alexia, I'm talking to you. Stay in the moment. Be in the feeling of uncomfortability.
And also
it'll pass, but you have to stay in it to get to the other side of the bridge. If you push it down and try to, no, I'm going to go back to this part of myself, you will never grow.
Run for cover.
Stay
right.
and also in the uncomfortable feeling.
And also, here's what I think. You have this persona that you like to put out there. It's like, I'm tough, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm whatever.
We all do.
I promise you, Alexia, this message is for you. If you show people your furry underbelly and you have it,
they're going to love you.
They'll love you more.
Oh my gosh.
They will love you more.
And honestly, only from this podcast, I'm not only from this podcast, but I've learned that when I am my most vulnerable, ugly self, not ugly, but like the part of myself that I'm like ashamed of or embarrassed of, I have found so much more positivity and light from people. Like, and this is 1/16 of what she experiences on like a fan base level. You know what I mean?
And what she does too is like, and I know this because I know she tells me she doesn't like to read anything. She doesn't like to read negativity stuff. So Marisol reads it and reports back. I'm like, oh, how do you know she's reporting accurately, Alexia?
She's reading you.
She's lying to you. She's telling you the things that you want. So yeah, as painful as it is, read the comments or somebody that you trust to read the comments and just be honest. And you will win at Housewives. She still has an opportunity. You will win at Housewives. Right. Like Nicole is winning at Housewives. Nicole basically right now doesn't want to have a lot of conflict with anybody. You're not going to see craziness from her.
No.
What for? She has a peaceful, fabulous life. We just want to watch her. Please let us watch this fabulous life. I love it.
I want to see it. It's my favorite part of the whole thing.
Me too. Me too.
I'm into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I hope Alexia would listen to this. Or Marisol, can you tell Alexia to listen to this?
She won't know because we're giving her advice. This is not convenient for her. But Marisol, Marisol, please stop listening to this. We can't sage the internet.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, we've tried, but it's hard. We've tried, but it's hard. Okay, this was interesting. I'm like glad we kind of got into it because I feel like every recap of Miami should be like this. It shouldn't just be
we are more passionate. We're more passionate about Miami than anything else because we've been in it. We've lived through it. And yeah, we know the people. You think you don't know Alexia anymore? Alexia's the same person you've always known.
I know.
She's not evil or whatever. She has her own.
She's not. I think that's why
whatever.
I have sympathy for her because I think she's, and I don't mean it in a negative way, but I do think she's dumb. Like, and I think, and I like, she's like a kid to me that I'm like, I see you wanting to do better, but you don't know how, but I could see you're trying. So
and she doesn't want to take advice because Alexia wants people to think that she's smart. And here's the thing that she is. When I say you're not smart, you are not smart in an intellectual, there's a lack of polish, but you are freaking AF Viva. Like nothing's going to get
herself this far. You know what I mean? You can't be dumb to do that.
I think that she definitely has street smarts, but you can benefit so much from like how Jessica Simpson did with like, is it chicken of the sea? Is it chicken or tuna?
Dude.
Jesus Christ, play
Look
that
at Jessica Simpson now.
If I could play that off, if anybody could believe that I would not know the difference, Jesus, I'd be playing that all the way to the bank. So it's like she needs to get off that idea. No one is going to think that you are going to find the cure to cancer. Nobody's going to think that. Well, we want to know what you're wearing or where you're going or whatever.
I don't know.
I don't like what she's wearing, but like some people do.
I agree though.
Yeah.
I had the thing when we stopped the quiz of the show, it was because I was like, I think people think I'm dumb. And I was like, who cares? Like,
but nobody thinks
if
you're dumb.
You can't make fun of yourself, you have lost in life. Like you can't take yourself so seriously. That's something I'm learning on this bridge. I take myself a little too seriously, and I'm just like, I need to relax.
That's why I'm telling you,
gives a
people
shit?
say, would you go back to your 30s, to your 40s? Not in a million years. That person was so insecure. So the things that kept me up at night are different than what keeps me up at night today. Today is just, you know,
people
other
who are buying your sauces.
Right, exactly. I want to make sure that they like it, and I want them to like it. But not things about like how I'm perceived and what. No, this is what I am, and I honestly, I am warts and all. This is who I am, and I show you. I'll point out the warts. You know, I'll point them out. I know they're there, but you have them too, and that's what makes us more alike than different.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Did you cover everything on your list?
No.
Okay. But
not even close. We had 2 episodes of Beverly Hills and 2 episodes of New York that I wanted to recap, but I think this is premiere week, Miami.
Premiere week for Miami, and people expect us to give them the first seat.
Yeah, agreed.
And so this is our way of giving the seat next to Andy to Miami, because they deserve it. And next week we'll talk about other stuff.
Yeah, I will say, I just want to say one thing about Beverly. Did you watch Beverly Hills?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the whole PK pretty woman thing?
I know. Oh
my God, dude. I've never cringed so hard in my life, and then also laughed so hard. First of all, I think that when your partner, generally speaking, if your partner, husband, wife, whatever, surprises you, it is such a magnifying glass into your relationship on whether or not
I don't want to be surprised by anything.
It's a magnifying glass onto whether or not your partner knows you, if he sees you, she sees you. And like, this was such an indication, because now we know that they're separating, probably divorcing. It was such an indication of like, you don't fucking know me. Dorit had 100 panic attacks during this quote unquote surprise. And then she's so sweet.
He doesn't know that it's control. Like, she has control issues.
She has major control
I don't
issues.
like surprises.
Hold on, wait, let me finish my thought. She had 100 panic attacks during the whole surprise thing. And then she went along with it and was like, this is amazing, PK. Thank you. Like, danced to the song, all this stuff. And then when they sat down for dinner, she was like, baby, I really didn't like that. She was just like, that was actually horrible for me. And I'm like, I just felt so bad for her to be with your husband of X amount of years who you clearly adore. And then to realize that he doesn't know you at all was like, ugh, that's so sad.
Well, I appreciate how you see this as something that's happening organically, but like, honestly, a lot of this could have been like, we haven't had a lot of you and PK, and let's show some aspect of your relationship that may be interesting to other people. And they go, oh, have you ever had a fantasy? And it's like, oh yeah, Pretty Woman. And they decided to run with this. I don't authentically believe that PK would have put that shit together. He's British and kind of a cynical person. And I think that was forced upon him. I think we'll just figure that out later.
I think he knew that Mauricio and Kyle are having a hard time. I think PK's competitive. I think he thought, I'm going to look really good in foiling this situation. And he totally fucked it up. That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel strongly about any of it. Again, I don't know them at all. I'm just going by taking enough of an interest.
But what we know is they're divorcing.
Are they really?
Yeah. They are separated as of right now. And
was this in the Bible of honesty, page 6?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well,
what do you want it from, Vanity Fair?
No, I don't trust that anymore either. I know I don't trust anything anymore. I used to at least trust them too. And
no, it was on page 6, and then other people have been reporting on it, and they have not said anything different. So okay.
Right.
Okay. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Okay.
Please.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Love you. Bye.